What if I told you that I can show you exactly how to achieve your goals or New Year's resolutions without burning out, without forcing discipline, and without having to feel like it's hard work? I'm gonna show you 3 really simple things that you can do right now to accomplish your goals in 2026 without feeling the guilt, the pressure, or having to feel like you have to hustle. No stress, no pressure, just gentle progress. If you've always made goals or resolutions for yourself at the end of the year or the beginning of the year, and you start off really strong, and somewhere along the way life happens and your goals don't really get attention until the end of the year, this video is for you. These 3 things are just gonna be no stress, no pressure, just progress that sticks. The first thing is to make a plan for the current version of you and not the ideal version of yourself. When we think about making a plan, we think about rigid scheduling, having a big calendar, and tracking every little thing, color coding it. But I think that this type of scheduling and planning is going to create a lot of anxiety and pressure for us to perform 100% of our capacity. And sometimes life isn't always like that. What we're going to do is we're going to plan things out differently. When you're creating a plan for yourself, instead of asking, how can I do this perfectly? Ask, how can I make this feel possible? Take your goal and zoom out a little bit. What does progress look like in a year, in 6 months, in 3 months, in a month, in a week? Think about the tiny little steps that you can do either on a daily, weekly, or even a monthly basis to get you to where you want to be, to make that progress, to be able to reach that goal. I call these little breadcrumbs that leads to a bigger mountain. When you think about your goals in weekly progresses or monthly, quarterly, 6-month progress and what that looks like for you, it's gonna be a lot more manageable instead of telling yourself that you have 12 months to do this without having a plan. Because if we don't have a plan, we plan to fail. That's not what we're gonna do in 2026. We're gonna have a plan and then we're gonna go ahead and achieve our goal. One thing that I forgot to mention is that when you are creating a plan, make sure that you are creating a plan for the current version of yourself and not for your ideal version. Because our future self has the potential. It's just that you know yourself and your habits and your schedule right now in this very moment. Just be very realistic of your plan and what you're able to handle. Again, we're trying to make this plan feel as if it's possible instead of making it feel perfect. Number 2 is make sure that you write in exceptions for yourself. I know so many times where I have written goals for myself, and the days where I was not feeling 100%, I was sick, I was injured, I was on my period, I fell off the wagon, and immediately because of that one small little mishap, I abandoned my goals. The thing is, when people talk about goals, what they don't tell you is that we're gonna have off days and we need to anticipate for those things when we are setting our goals and when we are trying to set up ourselves for success. When you don't write in exceptions for yourself in your overall plan to achieve your goals in the new year, what's gonna happen is when these life instances comes up, when you are not able to perform 100%, your brain is gonna go, oh, I've messed up anyway, so what's the point? You have to anticipate for these off days or for when these moments happen where you can't be the perfect version of yourself. One of the goals that I had for the last quarter of the year was to go to the gym at least 2 or 3 times per week. And I remember I was so sick. I was beating myself up for not being able to go. Due to that realization, I realized that I need to be able to write down exceptions for myself when I can only give 20% of my effort or when I have to show up differently. Sometimes when you try to be consistent with your goals, it can look like different things depending on how you're feeling and your life circumstances. If you're putting it in 100% and there are going to be days where you can only put 20%, that still counts as effort. Same thing with consistency. Sometimes consistency means showing up for yourself, whether that be resting or trying to get yourself in a better place so you can continue on with your goals and progress the next time you feel better. There is no hard and fast rule as to what consistency looks like, as long as you are able to make the progress that you want. That's what matters the most. When you anticipate for imperfections to happen, you stop abandoning your goals when things aren't perfect. Progress doesn't end when you take a pause, it only ends when you quit. Writing down exceptions helps you stay. My third point is going to be don't react, make it a habit. Talking about scheduling, I have encouraged you to create daily, weekly, monthly tasks for yourself. But as you're doing this and as you're executing it, you're actually creating micro habits for yourself in the background. The same way when we wake up and we immediately brush our teeth, it's a habit. We don't really think about it twice and it doesn't feel like hard work because we have programmed ourselves to do that every time that we wake up. I got this idea from the book Atomic Habits, where you do habit stacking. routine. You create a habit for yourself based on another habit that you normally do. This helps you feel like it's not hard work and it's actually just part of your routine. A lot of us have morning routines, nighttime routines, and a lot of these things comes down to habits. We already know what our steps are going to be. We already know what we're going to have to do. And most of the time, these things don't feel like chores. They don't feel like hard work. Eventually, things become a lot easier and second nature. And again, this doesn't feel like it's hard work because you're just adding it to your routine. If you are able to automate, if you can automate doing any of these habits to create progress and momentum towards your goals, do it. I'll give you an example. One of my goals is a lot of financial goals, and that is to be able to save X amount of money into my investing account, my retirement account, X, Y, and Z. And what I did was, instead of me having to mentally remind myself that I need to deposit X amount of money into these accounts, I've automated these transactions so I don't have to think about it. And this guarantees that by the end of 2026, I'll have that certain number of money into these accounts without having to think about it twice, but I'm also achieving my financial goals. One of my goals for 2026 is to be able to read 100 books, and I did the math already. Unfortunately, this is not something that I can automate, but I have to read around 9 books per month, which equals to 2 books per week. This seems pretty manageable for me, but if you just do the math, you have already broken down the steps that you need to take on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. An important thing that I wanted to mention is that you don't actually need to starting on January 1st, 2026 or the beginning of the new year. I personally did a soft launch of my new habits and goals in December, and I gave myself this time to be able to adjust and see what my threshold is. So far it's working because I was able to make adjustments and get to know myself better. That means that for you, you don't need to hit the ground running January 1st. Give yourself that time to see what works for you, and then after that first month, let's say in February, that's when you can finally say, okay, this is what works for me and I'm going to stick to it. Nobody says that you have to start right at January 1st, but if you do want to achieve your goals in 2026, just make a plan, have a soft launch before you hard launch your goals and your habits, and then see where that takes you. And I guarantee you'll have a very successful 2026. Goals don't have to feel like you are constantly chasing it, hustling towards it, feeling like you have to be 100% perfect about it. If you go through your goals and the ways that you can achieve them in a more gentle and kinder way, especially to yourself, then that is going to be something that will take you much further than you've ever imagined when you're trying to achieve your goals. If you follow my tips, I can promise you that these goals is going to be something that you walk into as opposed to trying to chase and trying to run into. It builds momentum. You're going to have a lot of amazing progress along the way, and most importantly, you're going to enjoy yourself and not feel like it's going to be hard work. Let's all have a successful 2026. I hope this video was super helpful for you. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye and Happy New Year.